Hey, everybody, welcome back to the OG's Power Hour. John Berfelo's in South Africa, so he probably isn't going to be joining us today, but we have Mr. Toad. And so we have an OG in the house because everybody knows I'm not the OG that these guys are. We were just talking before the show about, things happening in New York. And like I titled this show, When You See Your World Changing. And I think that's something that a lot of us are really missing the boat on in keeping up with what's going on around the world. So, tell us a little bit about New York, Tony, and maybe, do you see them changing their laws anytime soon, or is this something that's going to take a long time still?
And I think I think it's going to happen quickly. Because I feel like what's coming with cannabis on a larger scale is going to come quickly. We're going to be seeing cannabis starting to get rescheduled eventually. It's going to go, I believe, to Schedule 2 or Schedule.
And Tony's in a bad spot at his house, guys, so he's going to go a little robotic every once in a while.
Yeah, I cannot fix that. I cannot fix it. Let's see if I can move it real quick.
Well, you were saying you've got a tower in the area that went down, and so that's part of the problem. So you're there on audio, Tony?
Yeah, I'm here on audio. I'm trying to fix something real quick, and there's no need my camera spinning around. Yeah, one of my towers went down locally here, so I'm working off of a real bad signal. Plus, I live on a hill, but because of where I live, there's another hill right directly behind me that echoes the signal. So I end up in a pattern where I almost get nothing. It's bad. So I've been trying to figure out a way to get better internet here, and they just don't have it. I live in a section in my town that there's a quarter mile in both ways that they didn't even put cable in for TV and stuff. So they just left us in nothing.
And that's where the world needs to change. And that's where, like, I got Starlink here, about 3 weeks ago or so. And it has made a total difference. And like, I'm not getting huge numbers, but I'm getting enough where I can actually do things now. And that's part of our world changing. Is that something like we were talking about New York and the laws they're changing, and you're talking federally that things look like they're going to be changing sooner than later? And we can all hope that for a global scale. But if the U.S. does that, what do you think the ramifications of that change are going to be, Tony?
Oh, it's going to be, it's going to change the whole atmosphere of cannabis. It's going to be harder to actually be part of the system. It's going to cost a lot more money. The licensing is going to be much more strict. Protocols are going to be completely different. There's going to be standardization across the board. It's not just going to be whatever you want or whatever you and your friends think you can vote on locally. There's going to be something that everyone's got to follow, like processing meat and stuff, or the way tobacco is grown. They're going to check for everything on it. They're going to make you're going to have to be educated and have degrees to get into a lot of these jobs that are coming with cannabis. There's just a complete way to remove everyone that loves the plant from the plant very easily.
Well, they're going to
figure out how to get. Oh no, go ahead.
They're going to take it to more of the agricultural model, and I don't know if they're going to be as tough, or they're going to be tougher on us than they are on agriculture, because agriculture, if you understand, there's not much in the grocery store that's actually good for you anymore. But so you're saying, a lot of people are going to need degrees. Are you thinking in the big commercial grows, or like up here we have your larger grows and then we have our micro grows? Do you think it's going to affect both sides?
Yeah, I don't. Like, you guys have a whole different set of laws because of what your decisions were with the national treaties. Like our country hasn't decided to do what Canada did and a few others. So we're going to be dictated by other laws to do stuff specifically. So I don't know if I see a lot of home grows staying in the places that they are. I just feel like it's going to be easy for them to remove it from people's possession. It's going to be easier to tell a mass of people that never grew cannabis or were part of it and for a long time thought it was bad, who now are going to be told that it's not bad, that suddenly it's okay for everyone to grow it everywhere. It's going to be hard to get that to happen. It's going to be a lot easier to tell people that it's the bad people growing, not everyone, just this very specific small amount that are the reason why we need to take this plant and put it in a spot where it can be grown cleaner or processed better, right? They're going to start showing you fucking grows that they shut down covered in pesticides and shit just to scare people again, back like they did in the 80s.
Oh man,
I don't know.
if they go back to this is your brain on drugs in the frying pan and just sizzling there, I'm gonna freak out. Okay, but I don't think it's actually gonna be as bad. You know, if they go the same route that Canada did, where everybody's allowed to grow their 4 plants.
Yeah, but
I
see,
think,
like in 215 here, we could grow 99 plants.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
we've went so far from being free with a plant to being regulated to death with it. 4 plants are almost impossible to grow enough cannabis for one person to consume
yeah,
in a year if they have regulations and square footage and height, because that's what they start putting on everybody. First, it's your plant number, then it's how many you can grow in a specific area, then it can't go over your fence and your neighbor can't see it. At least that's what they do down here. And
yeah,
they make it to where your neighbor can turn you in for a plant you're growing in your backyard. So as long as someone else takes offense to it, they can do something about it. You're still not free with it. At
yeah,
one point, we were way more free with this plant. When we could grow 99 of them, as long as we had a medical recommendation, like there was less crime, there was more commerce. Everyone was doing stuff. I mean, we knew what was
yeah.
happening. The cities just wouldn't jump on board with taking the tax money from what was happening. They
Mm-hmm.
give me a business license to sell it under my farm's name, and whatever I make this year, you get a percentage of it. We all are happy. Instead, they wanted to force us into criminals because they're going to get more as a criminal than they would have got from us, they believe, as a businessman selling weed, because they didn't understand the metrics of how much money could be made with this plant. Today, they
Mm-hmm.
understand. It's billions upon billions. It's so much
Yeah,
more that was being moved to the black market and in the legal market now. And there's ways to use that profit or lack thereof to cover up other failures. So large corporations that have other companies that are failing, those can be written off and absorbed by ones that do make it through cannabis sales.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They're trying to balance their budgets, and they're not really understanding that they're doing damage to themselves. They think they can, twist it in a way that's going to be more beneficial to the corporations. And I think that's where a lot of the laws are balanced toward, is the corporation owning things, and the guys like you and I, get nothing.
Well, that's where the education side comes in.
Yeah.
Like it's weird that it's always the last dude in line to fucking try to learn something wants the benefit of what comes with that education of knowing way more than you did when you didn't know anything.